Hello and welcome back to Studio D. I've got, of course, my lanyard as well as my coffee. And we've been recalling a 16-year career in retail in Flemington, New Jersey. And what happened? Many things happened. I met a lot of tremendous people who are friends still to this day. But what happened to affect my writing and to impact my writing was the opportunity to observe people. It was like working in a petri dish. And I saw people, customers coming in at various stages with different situations, not always problems, not problems necessarily as we would describe them, but there were moments in this lives where things were not necessarily going as planned. Maybe on a small level, maybe on a much larger and more emotional level. And those memories, those 16 years of seeing people live their lives, is really the basis for this series. And this series is Soft Goods and Hard Truths. So retail is a very challenging way to make a living. The hours are long and you're on your feet all day long. As a matter of fact, I think I need a break just recalling those days. But one thing that I used to think about, and there were many, 7 hours into a 10-hour shift, so there were plenty of things to think about. But I often wondered how other great historical figures might have had their lives impacted if they too had worked retail, particularly writers. For me, it was an absolute gold mine to begin to understand people, to see what motivated people. But I wondered, what if some of the classic authors had worked retail? Some of the really, really great writers. Imagine Ernest Hemingway. And imagine Ernest Hemingway worked shifts, late night shifts, and he had a difficult time getting customers to leave after the store had finished for the day. Would he have possibly written "For Whom the Closing Bell Tolls"? Just a thought. Or Louisa May Alcott. Perhaps she worked in a clothing store, and maybe her specialty was helping shorter women find exceptional outfits. Would she have written The Petites rather than Little Women? These are the things I used to think about. And then, of course, there's William Shakespeare. Tremendous writer. Many people view him the greatest writer of all time. But imagine Mr. Shakespeare working retail. In fact, let's take it a step or two further. Imagine Mr. Shakespeare working in the kitchenware section of a retail department store in Flemington, New Jersey. Might he have written Hamlet, the Prince of Pots and Pans, rather than royalty from Denmark? I tell you true, these are the things that go through my mind right around 11:15 on a Friday night during holiday season. Now, before I go on to the next, I just want to point out something. I have my trusty tablet with me, and these first two scenes just memorized a couple of lines. And Laurence Olivier does not have anything to worry about from me, nor do any of the other great actors of previous times or current times. But for purposes of recalling some of the details of this particular moment that I'm going to share from my retail time, it really felt more appropriate to recite from notes rather than go from memory. It would have been a disservice not to get some of the nuances. So you will see me go from or reading from this item in the next part of this. Stay tuned. I'm just going to walk right around the corner. As I said before, you're going to see me read from my notes on this particular part of tonight's story. And we're going to pick it up just after talking about Mr. Shakespeare. So, having brought all those things to mind and taking inspiration from Mr. Shakespeare, sit back, relax, and enjoy. To sauté or not to sauté. On this particular day, we were having a sale on sweaters. I was folding cashmere, all manner of sweaters. And a customer stopped by and asked, "Pots and pans for my first apartment?" "Very exciting," I said. The customer continued, "Mom and Dad gave me a few things, but I've got a list 2 feet long. And, unfortunately, the last meal I actually made for myself was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in 11th grade. I don't know the difference between a frying pan and a flying saucer." Well, I walkie-talkied Dave, the resident gourmet chef and manager of the back of the store, and asked him to meet us in kitchenwares. I escorted the customer to the back part of the store, offered directions to the kitchenware section, and described Dave, the manager. The customers walked towards pots and pans for all cooking devices and occasions was more than just outfitting a kitchen. It was the beginning of a journey from parents' table to one's own. I got back into the men's department and continued folding my sweaters. Thanks for stopping by. We'll have another episode soon, so stay right here sometime in the next week or so, maybe 10 days, and we'll have some more of soft goods and hard truths. Now hold on for one moment, just a moment. I'd like to play out the Shakespeare connection just a little bit further. I too, people are going to say, well, your last name is Spear, it's not really Shakespeare, but I too have a connection to Mr. Shakespeare. Early on, I had purchased a magnificent set of pots and pans, copper-bottomed pots and pans, and they were the prize of my kitchen. And finally, when they wore out, after many, many years, I could honestly look at them and and say, "Alas, poor copper pots, you served me well." I think with that we'll close. Come back again.